So, a bit of a disclaimer. I like to share the wide variety of trails that I come across. Not all rides are epic, and so my videos will reflect that. Forest Hollow to Boy Scout is a 19.5-mile loop that starts and ends in the heart of Glenwood Springs, Colorado. This video is being made for the people that are considering riding the same loop and want to get an idea of what they're in for. If you can tell this trail isn't for you, you might consider skipping this video. But if this trail is on your list, I suggest shuttling it. Otherwise, you're in for a long grind up a road that I think covers about 2,500 feet of vert. And while it's a mellow grade that ranges between 4 and 8%, it's a pretty boring climb.
That was a hell of a climb. Like, kind of like not that bad, but also really bad. I just have no idea why we didn't shuttle that.
Don't you feel so accomplished?
Yeah, I climbed a road. Like,
I know.
From the top, the trail undulates, creating a few false summits.
what the f is this? Are you kidding me? Are you sure that's the way and we're not supposed to go that way?
Once you start descending the Forest Service Road, losing lots of precious elevation to uninspired double track, be careful not to miss the turnoff onto Forest Hollow Trail. It's not clearly marked and easy to miss.
Hold on, yeah, let's make sure that this is...
Is that it? I'm pretty sure that's it.
Dude, if you didn't see that...
Right by.
Forest Hollow is a pretty mellow trail that meanders nicely through a beautiful forest on the side of a fairly steep hill.
Trail feels like it gets used once every 3 years. This dirt sounds nice under my tires. It does feel exposed.
Anna kept swearing that there were beautiful views off to the right, but every time I tried to look that way, I'd swerve left and get a bit uncomfortable with the exposure.
Yeah, you like this? I have not seen any views. That's so funny.
Right.
I can't, my tire keeps going right. Yeah. Oh.
Slow down.
The wildflowers are out already. Look at those.
So, while the majority of your ride will be on Forest Hollow, we'll discuss it as I show you the descent of Boy Scout just to keep things visually interesting. Unlike Boy Scout, which you can see here is almost all downhill, Forest Hollow doesn't feel as though it goes either up or down, but traverses along a steep hillside. This would almost be a pleasant trail for beginner riders, except that the hillside falls away rather steeply to the right and can make for some uncomfortable moments. While the exposure might have newer riders feeling a bit tense, more advanced riders are going to find this trail lacking in the distinguishable features that make for more exciting rides. While Forest Hollow doesn't have many features, it does feel like an adventurous ride. You do feel like you've distanced yourself from the busy sidewalks of downtown Glenwood Springs. The trail is beautiful, making this ride feel like a nice afternoon stroll. That stroll is then rewarded with what I would call a nice flowy downhill on Boy Scout, as long as you don't mind that flow being interrupted by some exposure. While the descent down Boy Scouts is flowy and also fairly featureless, I wouldn't suggest riding it without rear brakes. The trail is steep at times and fairly loose, so slipping out a front tire could end in a serious tumble down some of the exposed hillside.
Oh my God, I have no rear brake. It sucks to be me. Trying to manage all this with the front brake and not wash out.
It's easy to get moving pretty fast here, but frequent, loose, and abrupt switchbacks will scrub your speed quickly.
Oh, we found the edge.
The description I read mentioned that there would be some technical sections on the descent, and while the trail was steep, I felt it was pretty mellow and could be handled by any intermediate rider. So I guess this review sounds pretty negative. However, that's not to say I didn't have fun riding this loop. I'm usually having a good time on my bike, especially when my brakes work.
Let's wait for Anna. Dude, this is about the worst kind of trail that I could be doing right now.
Without a brake? Yeah, I agree.
I gotta get this on camera. Here. What am I supposed to do with this? Riding this trail with that. There, it's firm again, and then I squeeze it, and then I have nothing again.
It's just that I was excited to ride Glenwood Springs as I've heard amazing things about Grandstaff, and the description of this ride was that it was one of the best in the area. I'm looking forward to coming back and checking that trail out. I don't know much about the Glenwood Springs trail systems. It's hard for me to recommend Grandstaff over this trail, as I've never ridden it.
Whoa, Greg, what are you doing, homie?
But if I were in the area and only had one day to ride, I think I'd pick Grandstaff over Forest Hollow. Luckily, I do plan to come back to the area, specifically to ride Grandstaff. For what it's worth, this was an awesome way to get some flowy miles in. If I'm gonna go exploring, I want to do it on my bike, and I would never discourage you from doing the same. Also, we did pass a guy at one stage climbing Boy Scout from the bottom up. I suspect he was doing an out and back and skipping Forest Hollow. I kind of think that's a mistake. For all that climbing, you may as well enjoy the nice meander that trail offers. But again, consider shuttling the road unless you just want to burn calories.
How's this for a little bit of exposure?
A little bit.
I just had a little bit of a pedal strike on the left side.
Like all trails, this one ends. And luckily, it ends in the heart of downtown Glenwood Springs,
Whee!
where grabbing a bite and a beer is easy. If you're familiar with the trails in Glenwood Springs and have any recommendations for me, please pop them in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time.
GoPro, stop recording.